Hey, it's sinistermoon, and I just wanted to take a little bit of time to review my favorite console of all time, the Mattel Intellivision. First, we'll go over the specs. It was originally test marketed in 1979, and the actual national release was in 1980. It originally cost $300, which is a pretty good chunk of change back then, but you definitely get what you pay for. And it has a General Instruments 16-bit 1 MHz 1610 microprocessor, which if you haven't added it up yet, this is the first 16-bit console. It had 4K internal ROM operating system, 2K of RAM, 2 hand controllers with 12-button keypad, 4 action keys, and 16 direction disc. 159 by 96 pixel background resolution, 8 colors, 8 moving objects, 3-channel music generator, and it of course plays cartridge-based games. This first console I ever played. My parents got it at a Secret Santa kind of Christmas party kind of deal. And some guy had got this and a stack of games and had no interest in it, so he offered to trade for my dad's gift, which was a graphic equalizer that, for the car. And my parents were like, hell yeah, we'll trade, because this was much more high priced and much cooler than a graphic equalizer. And so they played it for years, and then one day they decided to hook it up for me. And the first game that I ever played on it, or first game that I ever played altogether, was Night Stalker. And I love Night Stalker, and I love the Intellivision. And it's just, it's funny to me because people don't realize how outstanding this console is. And they weren't around back then, so they don't really know. And I hear a lot of people giving this console a bad rap nowadays, and their arguments are completely unjustified, and I wanted to clarify some of the bad rumors and myths that have been going around about this console. And the first one, of course, is with this controller. A lot of people complain about it, try to make it like it's uncomfortable. Well, I've been playing the Intellivision for over 23 years now, and I gotta say, I don't have any problem handling this controller for hours and hours on end. I never have, and probably never will. As you can see, like I said before, it has the 12 buttons on the front here, so you got plenty of options for your games, and you also have the 4 buttons, 2 on each side, and you have the disc. And when I said 16 directional movements, that is very true. You start here and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you just keep going until you get to 16. And that is awesome, because when you think about the Atari controller, you know how many you had on that? 4. Some games you could kind of go in between here and you could kind of get something out of, but not really. It was more or less, if you take this apart, it's 4. And they don't give the customer much credit, because they have to tell you that that's the top of the controller, and you only get one measly little button on this thing. Which, hey, I'm not setting out to diss on the Atari, but when I compare that controller to this controller, this one wins hands down because of just how many options and stuff you get. And of course, you had the overlays which slipped onto the front of the controller and give you a quick look at some of those here. And these are just awesome. Look how many options this game, Space Spartans, gives you. Look at that: battle computer, impulse drive, shields, tracking computer, hyperdrive, all systems on or off, status, repair, and I love all that. And like I said, you just slip it right in here, and it just slips in really nice and easy. Sometimes. But there you go. And so nice. And when you buy one of these, you'll actually get 2 controllers. This one had a smash controller on the first controller port, so I had to take the second controller and place it on the first, and I still need to get a replacement controller for the second. Now, the second thing I wanted to talk about was the IntelliVoice. And I keep hearing all these little rumors from people saying, well, you know, the IntelliVoice sucked because, you know, the sound came out of the unit itself and blah, 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 blah. Whatever. I can tell you that the voice does come out of your TV along with the sounds that the Intellivision produces. And you have this cool volume control up here. You can turn it all the way down, you can turn it up, you can just adjust it to your liking, which I think is really awesome. And there's actually a secret compartment on this right here that you can take off, and there's actually like a, you know, a place where you could insert things, which they were going to later use for like wireless controllers and stuff like that, which never end up coming out, unfortunately. But originally the IntelliVoice came out in 1982, and it cost $70 originally, which kind of sounds like a lot in some ways, you know, but like it's really not, knowing that the fact in 1982 you didn't have many talking games, and this did it very well. There was only like 4 games that came out for it, which is kind of a letdown. I wish there was more, but the ones that did come out for it, for example, Space Spartans, definitely an awesome game, and you can always tell the talking games because they have the gold label, and I love that. And you know, something else I wanted to talk about was a lot of people are complaining that, you know, that the slot where you put the games in is like really tight, and I disagree. Watch this. Did that look hard? Yeah, so next time you see some noob complaining that this is like too tight of a cartridge slot, laugh at him. See? And I just love this console. And something else I wanted to tell you about this controller is if you press 1 and 9 at the same time, it actually pauses the console. Yeah. What other console do you know of that had a pause feature in 1980? None. And that is awesome. And also, if you leave the controller live, you know, if you don't touch it for a little while and you have the actual console running and everything with the game in it, it will go into a screensaver mode. And just like the pause, you just, you know, hit the disc or hit whatever button, it'll come out of it, no problem. I mean, that is awesome. A screensaver and a pause feature, awesome. And also, I wanted to say, a lot of people are like, oh, it looks like a telephone. Well, no, it doesn't. Not to me. I mean, yeah, kind of. But to me, it looks like a 1980s TV remote. And you even have the enter button. Remember, like in the 1980s when you had to go like, 03, enter. Well, yeah, that's where they got the idea from. I mean, look at it. It even says right here on the front of it, Intellivision. Intelligent television. And this is your controller. Make sense? I think so. Now, I just think it's too funny that a lot of people talk shit about this console, because this console is just so awesome, and you can pick it up so cheap nowadays. I really don't think that it's worth even trying to bitch about. And if you're bitching about the games, chances are you haven't read the instruction manuals. So do yourself a favor when you pick this console up. Make sure that you get, if you're coming at these games for the first time, pick up these instruction manuals and pick up those overlays. They are very important to how, you know, the game is played, and you won't understand a lot of them if you don't have these. So make sure you do that, you know. I mean, why would you do that to yourself? Why would you get a game and just bitch about it being hard or bitch about not understanding it? To me, that's a really stupid move, and stupid moves are not involved when you play the intelligent television. So anyhow, I love this console. I really can't say too much more about it. I just love it so much, and expect more game reviews coming from it sooner or later. If you have any questions about the Intellivision, please feel free to ask me, because I'm not one of those guys that's just gonna fucking be angry and upset about things. I'm gonna tell you the real facts about the Intellivision.